and we can get cracking, huh? All right, so the Death Watch are back. Time to paint some Death Watch. It's been a little bit, and I never finished my new. Anyone that plays Kill Team maybe knows that in the new edition, they added some additional units to the Space Marine team. It's like a combination of the two teams before, so there are some new guys that I can use on my team, and I have yet to get around to painting them. So we're going to work on the sniper. Now, I'm trying to remember the exact colors I used, which I don't, but that's fine. I have one nearby. Hello, Karam. So, well, I have this guy I can use as reference for what colors I need. And if I remember correctly, he goes up to like a grayish color, like a light gray. Neutral gray is not going to be bright enough. I need something a little bit lighter than that. I could just check the reference videos to see what I used, but it doesn't really, it's not that important. As long as I get like pretty close. I remember some of the colors I used. So as long as I'm about right, we should be fine. Let's grab some gray. And I'll grab the other one later. I don't need it right now. So, okay, so I've got black, I've got my dark turquoise, tenebrous teal. I've got this silver gray, which is like a blue gray, a more neutral light gray, and then I'll go to a slightly yellowish, even lighter gray at the end. So we're going to start with the black armor. And I need to mix some of the black with the teal and then add a little bit of the silver gray to get this nice, like, dark teal. Cryo cheese. The rating with a party of 79. Hello. Hi. Hello, raid. What were you guys doing? What's going on in the cryo cheese raid? So, all right, so we're gonna just start by applying some lights, and I'm gonna look. I'm not gonna paint this knee pad actually. I'm gonna leave that, but I'm basically painting only the kind of reflections here. I'm more interested when doing black armor. The lights are gonna be quite small. So I'm more interested in like where reflections and stuff are going to be. And then we'll do a lot of work on applying, what's it called? The like edge highlighting and everything. I've been painting the Chimera models up. Apollon piece? Oh, the chariot. Okay, cool. That's a big one. the like sci-fi one. It's a heck of a model. Well, we're taking it casual today and just painting a simple Space Marine. Praise the Omnissiah and Adaptus Paints. Hello, welcome. Thanks for following. So one of the things here is like, yeah, I'm going to leave this knee pad because he's supposed to be a Death Watch. Most of his shoulder here, his shoulder is covered by his camo cloak. So we're not going to be able to identify what chapter he is by his camo cloak. So I'm going to do, instead of his shoulder, I'm going to do his knee pad as his like chapter symbol. The Poly Principle and the Plague Bearer. Hello, welcome. Well, I'm glad you, I hope you had a good stream, and thanks for raiding in. If you got to run, that's fine. If not, hope you stick around and feel free to ask questions. For all the people who just joined in, we are painting this Eliminator to go along with my other Space Marines. So this is the style of black armor that we're going to be aiming for. Okay, not with all the little, you know, freehand stuff that's specifically to the Carcharodons. In fact, I'm going to let you guys decide what chapter this is going to be within reason, because there's a bunch of chapters I've already done and I want to diversify. So feel free, anyone, to make recommendations and we can decide who this sniper man is going to be hailing from. We also don't have to paint this arm because this arm's going to be silver. So, because that's how Death Watch are. Exorcist, Crimson Fist. I have a plan for a Crimson Fist, so I'm not going to do a Crimson Fist. I have the captain also from this set who has a Power Fist, and I'm going to do him as a Crimson Fist. So, Mantis Warrior, oh, that could make sense. Hi, Ramisquero. Exorcist could be interesting. I'd also like to maybe save Exorcist for a bigger figure because they also, like, they tend to do all that little runes and things all over their armor. So maybe that could be a cool one to do with a figure that has a bit more opportunity for freehand. So we could go like crazy painting all the runes and stuff. Raptors, already done Raptors. Mantis Warriors is one of the more interesting ones I've seen recommended so far. So far, Mantis Warriors is, I think, Disciples of Caliban. That's one of the Dark Angels successors, I think. Omega Marines. I'm assuming that's is that the one with like the split black and white? Aren't they like the, they're a Ultramarine successor, right? I've already done a Sons of Auror. Don't, why don't you name him ones? All right, and we'll get a little light right there. I know it's pretty dark, but you guys will start to see this in a bit. It'll start to come through a little more. We'll get some highlighting here. Get a little highlight here. I'm kind of following the sort of natural highlights you can see from the lamp. Storm Warden? You can't do a Storm Warden without a power sword. Come on. Storm Warden's got to be a guy carrying a big sword. That's just how it goes. Sons of the Phoenix. That's the purple guys, right? With the like crazy emblem. You trying to make me paint the Sons of the Phoenix emblem on this little knee pad? Guy's trying to give me a challenge. Not that the Manus Warriors emblem is super simple, but yeah. Definitely, they're definitely an Imperial Fist successor. All right, so now that I've done that one, we're going to jump up in value a little bit. So we're going to go a little more of this. So basically we're eliminating the black now. So we're going to go to a more teal. We're going to paint inside of that. Angels of... I know the Fire Angels. I've done one of those guys. I think I did him on stream, actually. I've done a Soul Drinker. I freehanded that. I did a Scout. One of my Scouts is a Soul Drinker. You can check him out on my Instagram if you want. I have not done a Minotaur. That's another one I'd like to do, but I feel like he's another one that I need like the right figure for, you know? Like if you're gonna do a Minotaur, like I feel like I'd like to convert one of those the new like Blood Angels captains with the like muscly armor. You gotta do, if you're gonna do a Minotaur, he's gotta have like muscly armor with like the big head crest and everything, make him like super Spartan looking. He would be a cool, like, it's definitely on my list of chapters to do at some point. All right, so you can see I'm kind of just like placing the highlights here. None of this is blended yet. I'm just kind of figuring out the highlight placement, where everything's gonna go. And then we will start to blend this out. You should be able to start to see some of the shape of the armor come through. This is a new kill team guy. He is my eliminator for my Angels of Death team. Because when I originally did my team, the Intercessor Squadron, or I guess they're just called Intercessors, they could not bring a they could not bring the Eliminator. He was introduced in, what was the name of the team before they got combined into one team? It was Intercession, and then there was another team. And then now they're Angels of Death. Justian, that's right. Yeah. So this guy comes from was originally Justian, which I did not have. I did not make a Justian team. So now I have to add him. Same with the Heavy and the Power Fist Captain, which the Power Fist Captain will be the Crimson Fist. All right, so now I'm coming back with this darker one, right? This previous mixture, and I'm just kind of a little thinner, and I'm painting in between the two layers that I did before. I don't know, maybe I might do the Captain on stream. Done, Soul Drinker. Done it. It's been done. You guys got to come up with some obscure ones, you know, to hit me with one that hasn't been done or not planned. So the thing is, like, a lot of the chapters that are like popular, right? Like Minotaur's quite popular. Allison. Right here. Space Shark. A lot of the chapters that are quite popular, right, have, like, I think very distinct characteristics about them, right? They have very, like, identifying like traits. So I think they're one of those ones that's like, if you're gonna do something like the Minotaurs, you gotta do stuff that's really distinct to them, right? I want to do a Seiss. I think I'm gonna do him as a Phobos. I converted the, what is the name? What was the captain with, like, the Tyranid, or not the captain, the lieutenant? You know, there's the lieutenant from Leviathan with the Tyranid shoulder pad. I think I'm gonna do him as a Seiss of the Emperor. There's also the other Scythe guys. What could be a cool one, and would be a pretty tough, yeah, the one with the combi, I think it's a combi Melta, but I changed the weapon out. So he's got like 2 knives or something. I think he's rocking double knives now. Do I have it? He's somewhere. I put him somewhere, but I don't remember. I don't know the Yellow Jackets. Who's that? Another idea would be, what is the chapter with the, like, hourglass that's made out of skulls? Any Space Marine chapter experts in here? Wrong answers only. All right, so now that I'm on like this more pure silver gray, I'm going to also start to like edge highlight, okay? So I want to start defining the edges of the armor, because I'm going to paint gradients on the edge too, but this is going to really start to the star phantoms. Wow, Allison, very descriptive on the yellow jackets. They're an unknown successor from an unknown founding with no known origins and no distinguishing character. Do they even, are they one of those chapters that like doesn't even have a chapter symbol? They're like, we gave them a name and that's it. I love those ones where they're just like, here's a throwaway line. We mentioned them in some story. So if none of you have painted one of these Phobos Marines before, they have a lot more edges than the regular intercessors. Yeah, get all your edging jokes out. So I am just going around and trying to define every little panel and everything. We might have to come back and use, like, come back with the black and just clean up some of the dark lines in between. But I just want to define every panel right now. I have plans for a lamenter. Again, probably don't want to do a lamenter on Guys are like, let me pick the most complicated chapter symbols so you can do that on an e-pad. I see how it is. Guys just want to put me in hard mode. Yeah, I've done some tiny freehand before, but I think doing tiny checkerboards on this knee might not be the most fun thing. How to make your sniper roll all ones, make him a lamenter. Guys are trying to sabotage me too. Make him the Twitch chapter, and we'll give him just a purple knee pad with the little Twitch symbol on his knee. I'm not doing that, by the way. That's a joke. Already been done, Craig. So I've got a scout with a skull mask and everything. He's skulled up. I converted my own skull helmet. God, don't you guys keep track of every Space Marine I've already done? Mortifactors is actually one of the chapters I run around as all the time in Space Marine 2. Because they're cool. Relios. Hello. Hi. Thanks for the tier 1. Hi there. I've been trying to practice this effect on my Raven Guard for about a month, and every attempt I make looks like rubbish. The black-blue transition on the armor panels. Are there any tips you could give me? I'm safe. Just follow along. But basically what I'm doing is we're we're gonna I kind of tend to over highlight and then come back. So you really want most of the armor to be black, right? So I'm gonna come back to the transition and introduce a thinner amount of black on top to blend that back out. If you do too much blue, it stops looking black, right? So you need most of the armor. I'd say 60% of the armor should be basically pure black. So it's I place the highlights and then I come back with the black in order to darken it back down. So we start to get kind of that sensation of this black armor, and then as I'm going to continue to push it and increase the light more, it's going to make these grays that I already have look a little darker also. So let's do that real fast, right? Let's jump up to the next light. Let's take some of the silver gray plus some of this lighter neutral gray. We're going to mix another tone here. We'll start to put some highlights in. Some of the really intense lights that you get towards the end on this reflective black. We're aiming for a kind of glossy black. Not really a metallic black, right? Similar in principle to a non-metallic, but we don't get any of the environmental reflections that you would have on non-metallic metal. So it's more just the main shiny highlight of non-metallic metal. So as I push these grays into it, it starts to get a little, the blacks are going to look more intense by contrast as I get smaller, even brighter highlights towards the end. You can see the difference now between this leg and this leg, right? Or his chest. When you first apply those parts of blue, is it layer consistency and then place the lighter highlight? Yeah. So, I always work thick to thin. So I start with thicker paint and I build up the lights. And then as I begin to refine, I work thinner and thinner. I forgot to do his belt buckle. So we need to do that. We also have his cod piece. Go get his crotch plate. Right, so I'm just working on some of these smaller pieces like the belt buckle and stuff. The edge highlights are really the only thing you need. It's not like some of the other parts where you have a lot more detail, right? Or these bigger surfaces that you can kind of play around with the highlights on it a little more. Trying to see exactly what's going on with his knee plate. So they have, he's got like this padded knee plate, which I guess is for when he's in a kneeled position. Which colors am I using? Black, tenebrous teal, silver gray, and stonewall gray. But basically, black, a dark turquoise, a bluish gray, and a more neutral light gray. I don't even know. I know that the black and the teal are the same colors I used. I don't even know if they were the same colors I used on the original ones. It's the exact colors that I'm using are not super important. What's more important is that like I get the like level of highlighting and stuff consistent with the ones I did previously. So yeah, I can come back with some of the black. Make sure those lines are really clean, like between the armor plate. It's also going to sharpen up some of my edge highlights that got a little thick. Right, so something like that. Now, if you were doing a light armor, I don't know if anybody's ever used it, but you can actually use, where is it? Is it in here? So if you're doing like a lighter armor, you can actually use this stuff. Like a blue, if you're doing blue or something. But the way this works, let me grab, do I have something that I can do it on real fast? Let me see. let me just grab like a piece of plastic or something. All right, here we go. So you can see like this little piece of plastic right here. See that little like right there, the little thing? It would be more interesting on a bigger piece. Something with like a more clear line on it. Here we go. So what this stuff does is it's like an enamel based liner. So after you've like kind of done the highlights and everything, you can come in and like you touch it to it and you see it like runs the length of it, right? And you'll get like a little bit of like splotch left over at the end. It's better to gloss coat it first, so you like gloss clear it, and then you do this. And then you take a little, once it's dry, you take like a little bit of lighter fluid, like Zippo lighter fluid, and a Q-tip. And it'll, so it's not dry at the moment, but you can like just wipe away with lighter fluid. I'm not using the lighter fluid because it's still wet, but you can like wipe away the spot where you like touched it, and it gives you like a really nice black clean panel line. So it totally works on Space Marines and stuff. If you want to, if you're doing a lighter armor, like you can go around and do that. Makes for a quick way to like black line everything without trying to do it by hand. But he's already black, so. Yeah, I mean, it's a panel wash, like you guys have probably seen it, but those are like pre-mixed things, so they make it, you absolutely could make your own and do it with a brush. But those pre-mixed ones make it pretty fast and simple. They're already formulated to flow nicely, so you don't have to like worry about getting the dilution and everything just right. Back in my day when I used to do Gundams, that product didn't exist. You had to mix your own. Back in my day. It's also really useful for doing like Titans or Knights and like vehicles that have a lot of panel lines. Ugh, Sam. Ugh. If you don't panel line your Gundams, why, dude? Come on. It just hurt my soul a little bit. Gian Lycander. Hello, welcome. Thanks for following. Come on, man. Decals and panel lining is like the minimum thing you should do. plank walker. I just don't know why they still include stickers. I guess for like accessibility. Obviously stickers are easier to work with than what's it called? Stickers are easier to work with than water slide decals, but what a bunch of crap. Gundam enjoyers will scribe in extra panel lines and stuff, right? Yeah. There's a tool for that. It looks like this. So there are these like tiny little chisels. All right, so it's not like a knife. Then you take it and you go and you put it in the thing, and then you tighten it down, and then you can, but I could show you, like, I don't know if I have anything. So when they get fancy, they'll do like, so some people just take in like scribe extra, or like they deepen it. So they'll come in and like place it, and then you just run it on that, and you slowly like scrape, and it deepens the line, right? But then some people also like take guide tape and they'll like scribe extra lines to create like their own design. But yeah, like this is called rescribing, where you take in like enhance the line so that the panel liner like runs more fluid through there. So you don't like accident, because like this is a pretty shallow, like this line is pretty shallow. So by like rescribing it, right, you like doing it with a knife, right? You just real gently like scrape at that line until it deepens it, but you do it with the chisel, which is wider. And then, yeah, when you then take the panel liner, it flows into that line better. But then you can also like design your own, where you draw on the surface, use guide tape, and then scrape new lines, right? Sarid Win and Nikki Bones. Hi, Dim. Are there any Gunpla by me that you could probably on Facebook, like back in the day, but I don't have any posted on my Instagram or anything. Kill team? Yeah, man. Gotta do my sniper. Is that an official announcement of posting some soon? No. No. Do you want me to post some Gundams? Martin Mini Painting, hello. They're kind of old and not like the best. I mean, some of them are okay. They're also dusty as hell and probably need like a good cleaning. Have I ever thought of doing Gundam painting comps? No. That doesn't interest me. Not really. The like see a sword? Gundam painting comps is like a different thing. It's like they're really interested in like it's more like the modeling aspect than the painting aspect. They do a lot of like conversions and like they get real crazy about like how clean everything is and like, oh, how much detail did you add? I would say painting is probably like maybe 20% of like Gundam competitions. Hi, Splatterhouse, thanks. I think it's much more about the modeling aspect than the actual painting aspect. It's like ship modelers, right? It's like not really. I mean, obviously they paint the model, but a lot of it comes down to like just the amount of level of detail that they add to it, right? Like doing all the rigging and everything's not really part of the painting side. I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't even call Gundam painting comps. It's more a modeling competition. Yeah, they like and I understand it. The aesthetic is cool, right? Like here, we'll show I'll grab one real quick. I'll grab one I did. He's a little dusty. So this is the F91, right? So it's like it's not really about the like painting side so much. It's like the color. This is all painted, right? It's like pretty flat and then it's just like decals and all that jazz. This dusty boy. Right? It's just do decals and whatnot. His eyes are all fancy. His camera lenses. All right, so that, yeah, this is, did you paint these ones? Yes, I painted this. This is all painted and decaled and panel lined and blah, blah, blah. And like he's got his fancy feet and whatnot. But it's like, it's not really so much about painting as like other, yeah, that's gross. His base, like, look at his base is like super dusty. Right, it's not so much about painting as it is, what's it called? Just the modeling aspect. Anything planned in the Philly, New Jersey area for classes this year? No, not right now. Yeah, paint makes them look better because there's this thing with plastic. I don't know if you can, maybe we can't see it on this piece, but this is unpainted. Been building one recently. Here you can kind of see it. There, like, see this line right here? You guys see that? This line, right? So that's like a like an injection. Yeah, it's like injection where like the plastic has been injected into the mold, and you can see the like discoloration from where the plastic has been like injected from more than one port, and it like meets together. By the way, this is the one I'm working on. He's huge, by the way. He can't even fit on camera all at once compared to the one I'm working on. So here's a Space Marine. And here's a Gundam. They're slightly different in size. The Splatterhouse, thanks for the tier 1 3 months in advance. Appreciate you. But yeah, you'll occasionally see like, oh, you can really see it a little bit on his shoulder, especially when the light hits it right. Like you can see like this little line warping and stuff. So yeah, that's why like painting it tends to work better, because it gets rid of that like weirdness from the plastic being injected into the mold. No, the Space Marine did not cost as much as the Titan, or as much as the Gundam. Now, a Gundam is cheaper than like a Knight. The real fact of the matter is, welcome to a hobby where nothing is cheap. Oh, they're definitely cheaper than GW in terms of like the amount of plastic, right? If you compare an equally sized kit to GW, Bandai is definitely cheaper. But pricing on Games Workshop models has always been a little weird. Like, this guy is like, I don't know. If you include him with the rest of the dudes in the starter boxes, right? He's what, like $5 roughly? But then you could buy like the same guy as like a captain in an individual pack and he would be like $30. So, you know, what, like, display painting is cheaper because it takes longer per model. Maybe. That depends. I get out of here, Richard. I don't care. I'm doing whatever I want. This is my stream. Paint a damn Space Marine if I feel like it. Do you normally play Deathwatch? I play Kill Team. So Deathwatch has nothing to do with it other than the color of his armor. They are Deathwatch for flavor only. And what do you think the answer to that question is, Richard? Feel like you know me a little by now. Hi, Maso. What are your favorite kill teams? I can't stop buying them. My favorite kill teams, I only play two. I have Scouts and I have Angels of Death. My favorite kill teams are just the ones I like the look of. I've played against quite a few. Honestly, a lot of them play the same, to be fair. Like, there's not that much of a difference mechanically between the different, like, Legionnaires and Space Marines and like any of the elite teams. I've also played Phobos. Actually, Phobos are pretty cool. I don't know. Have I played them at all in the new edition? I don't know. I can't remember. I don't think I have. Phobos were really cool in the last edition. Yeah, I mean, it's way more, I call it dad hammer because it's way more accessible and takes way less time than actual 40K. While still having like a pretty deep like mechanic like system. It's a good game. Actual question for Eric to piggyback on the Scott. Do you think the date change will hurt the painting comp? You're talking about LVO. A month after Nova, 2 weeks before SMC, Golden Demon, Germany, October. Yes. Yes, I do. No, nothing really else to say about that. I think you'd have to be a bit crazy to think it wouldn't, you know? Do you play Space Marine 2 or any video games? Yeah, I played the hell out of some Space Marine 2. I've unlocked I haven't unlocked everything because they did the new, I haven't played since the new update where they did that where like the Salamander Sniper came out and they unlocked like a bunch of they unlocked that whole like research center thing. And it's really weird because it's like all the research center stuff is like, I've definitely already done all that, but it didn't come unlocked. So, yeah, I haven't played since that update came out, but I've got every class at level 25 in operations. 25? That's the max, right? Whatever the max is. Hello, Perceptron. Yeah, I haven't played Absolute is like the new difficulty. I haven't played the newest difficulty. I played the previous one where it's like where anytime like a elite spawns, you get 2 or something like that. Not elite, but the like lictors and stuff. Perceptron, hello. I can tell you the classes for each class, which Space Marine I dressed him up as. For the tactical, I played a Slice of the Emperor. For Assault, I played a Red Scorpion. For what is it, the Reaver? Whatever they call the Reaver. I forget. It's not Assault, I can't remember. Anyways, I played a Mortifactor. For Vanguard, that's right. And then what's the shield guy? Warden? Something like that? No. Bulwark's cool. Yeah, playing with a good bulwark makes the game way easier. I played a Storm Warden. And then Sniper, I played a Raven Guard, and Heavy, I played a Death Watch. Oh, the real answer with a Bulwark is he's not a tank, he's a healer. That's the real secret about the Bulwark. He drops that flag down and gets everybody, heals people. Hi, Judge Beef. Hello. Maybe. I don't own any jump pack Marines. Yeah, Space Marine. We're painting Space Marines, dude. They're cool. And I need them for my gaming. You know, sometimes, I know this might surprise some of you, sometimes you can paint models for the fun of gaming with them. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I know. And not everything has to be about entering a painting competition. Splatterhouse, have a good night. You can just enjoy rolling dice around them. It's been the opposite? What do you mean the opposite? I've never said the opposite. Hey, Eric, have any interest in the old world? No. Nah. Playing any games this weekend? I might. I could. No, I'm not big into Warhammer Fantasy. All my Kingdom Death models are just for fun and playing with, you know. I roll dice around them. Just have a good time. No, I liked my gaming models to look pretty good. I'm not going to sit here and say I just speed paint my my gaming figures. I put a little extra effort, you know. They're not competition level, but I spend a little bit of extra time on each one. I guess a little bit of extra time is also dependent on what you think a lot of time on a gaming figure is, but you know, I take about a day or whatever to say 6 to 10 hours to paint a single marine. Like, you could theoretically do a kill team in a week to a pretty high level. Assuming, you know, you don't have a job or your job is painting. No, there's no Eric Slapchop tutorial happening. I also don't even think Slapchop is like the most efficient way to paint a model. I'm pretty sure, actually, if I wanted to like really show you guys how to paint like a model really fast, it would be with the airbrush and then the panel line accenter that I showed you. Like, if I wanted to really crank out some Space Marines like super quick, I would just like airbrush, panel line accenter, and then paint details, and it would be like done. I don't know what that is. What is MESBG? MESBG? What is that? Oh, I think that gives you your answer right now. Right there. I'm gonna go with my lack of knowing the acronym probably tells you I do not play that game though. And this might come as a shock to some people. All right, hold on to your butts. I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan. I like the movies. They were pretty good. But that's about as far as my Lord of the Rings fandom goes. I'm not out on the internet complaining about how, what's the name of that movie or that TV show? The Rings of Power has ruined the canon of whatever thing, Silmarillion, whatnot. You know? That ain't me. All right, so I've got, he still needs like a little more highlighting, probably a little more blending. There's also some like, I probably need to put on the glasses and like clean it up a little, but it's okay for right now. It gives you kind of the idea of how I do the black armor. There's probably also some stuff like really deep in here that I am having a hard time reaching and seeing. So that probably needs to be cleaned up. But I'm going to take a quick break and then we'll work on some of the other elements. And yeah, like the backpack's not done at all. Dim. black, dark turquoise, blue gray, light gray, and then eventually we'll go to like a light, like tannish white. MK Noil? Huh. This is not Lord of the Rings beard, alright? Alright, I'll be right back in just a few minutes. So I need to do the black carrot. Whoa. That's not what we want. Let's try that again. Huh? So I get paint all over my hand, as typical. One little cap. All right, well, if you're going to be like that, then fine. We'll just do it this way. The little cap didn't come out. We'll just do it like that. All right. So, I'm going to start painting a little bit of the black carapace by mixing a more neutral dark gray. So I don't want to use black for this, or the blue black, because I want it to look like a different kind of material. So I'm going to start to do the abs. And he doesn't really have any. Normally you would have to do like the neck thing and like in between his legs and stuff, but he doesn't really have any of that showing. So the only parts that we need to do this on is just the abs. Normally it would have some of like the arm. Some of it would be showing on like the arms, in between the elbow joints and stuff. But he is a very closed pose, so none of that really shows. So we can just pop some down on that bad boy. Okay. And then bring back some of the black. Dunsky. All right, what else do we got? What other major component things do we have? So we want to take and outline some of these leather parts, make sure we clean up around the edge here. Oh yeah, he does have one more thing that I need to. So I'm gonna do this like knee pad. I could do it like leather, like the other parts, but he has the pouches right next to it, so I think it might work better as like this dark gray. Some kind of just like, I don't know. Maybe it's like a padded rubber sort of material or something for the knee pad. I don't really know what the logic is behind this. Maybe when he's going into a kneeling position, it's quieter or something. Because it's certainly not to protect his knee from damage, because pretty sure the ceramite steel leg armor piece would be just fine for protecting his knee. They remind me of those like things tilers wear, like people that do flooring and stuff wear on their knees. I'm going to go with it's for sound. Don't ask. Don't think too much about it, okay? It all makes perfect sense. So I just want to make sure I get some nice highlights here. And then we can come back. We get one more little thing of highlights on the edge position, the side of the knee. There we go. So now we can come back with the black and we can darken in some of these areas where maybe it got a little too light, and it'll make this look more black, right? So a thinner layer of black on top. To kind of soften that transition in. Okay. Now he's got his fancy soft knee pad. Put another little highlight right there at the end. Vallejo black. Yeah, Vallejo black. This is Atom black. They're very, I find them actually quite similar. But yeah. Vallejo black and this one are probably my two favorite blacks. Vallejo model color black specifically. All right, let's take some of the even brighter color. Come on. Messy. Jesus. All right. Okay, I'm going to take some of this guy and we'll mix it with the light gray to get this kind of like creamy light gray. Just for a little more warmth at like the end, this like kind of final highlight on the black armor. Just to change up the color a little bit. I'm going to use this in like a few spots, right? Where I want to really like push that shine. Make it look extra glossy. You see the difference between this one and this side now? Like this looks shinier. It's like I'm not doing the whole edge. I'm just doing it in like the spots where the like volumetric shine meets the edge, right? Maybe in the very middle of like the volumetric shine on some of the like on the toes and stuff. Hey man, don't ask me. Why would a sniper wear bright yellow armor? Okay. I don't think the Space Marines are that worried about camouflage. Even though they have cloaks that are like active camo. Don't try and apply, we just talked about this with this little knee pad. Don't try and apply logic to Space Marine armor. So you blend in with the rest of the reflective surfaces. Yeah, the blending will happen. I don't need to worry about blending that much. Like, you guys are also looking at it like way zoomed in, right? Like when you look at him like this, right? He's, which might be what he looks like on table, right? Like, yeah, it's good enough. Still looks shiny and black. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there's only looking pimp as hell. It's like the Reavers, right? The guys with the skull masks. Who are they scaring with that, right? Like, if you're not intimidated by the fact that a guy who is like a 9-foot tall super soldier is coming after you, you think really like him putting a skull face on his helmet is really going to make him more intimidating? No, Reavers specifically have a rule called terror. It's little kid logic is what it is. Like, putting a skull on it, it'll make him scarier. I'm not a big fan of the Reaver helmets, to be honest. I find the skull helmet to be quite goofy. For exactly that reason. Like, now I say that, but I think chaplains are cool. But I don't think chaplains wear skull helmets to intimidate the enemy. I think chaplains wear skull helmets to, like, inspire the other Space Marines. They're like, look at that guy. Look how cool he is with his skull helmet. That's a guy I'm going to listen to. All right, so that's like kind of the armor done, right? I could get fancier later and come in and maybe I'll blend stuff out a little bit more, but in general terms, that's about what I think it needs. Okay, so the next thing will be to start to do some leather, and I do mine with a brown leather because the brown leather helps it stand out from the black armor. Yeah, I think they're just impressing each other, not so much trying to intimidate anyone else. So just going to go around and start to base coat all the leather parts. General rule or idea here is the way I work through any kind of gaming figure like this is I tend to work inside out, which tends to mean starting with like the skin first and then building up from there. But on a figure like this, which doesn't really have any skin other than on his, he's got a little bit on his face. Tend to just start with the armor and then build up from there, right? Well, Dan, you can go hang out with Richard because he said the same thing. All right. Once again, this is my stream and I paint what I want. Okay. And painting what I want means getting my kill team done. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm painting a Space Marine. They're cool. And I'm not ashamed of it. I think I'm going to do this in case gold. His little symbol thingy. His little marksman's honor or whatever the heck this is supposed to be. I don't know. Once again, very stealthy to put a giant gold emblem on your chest. There's just haters. You guys go be hipster miniature painters and be like, I only paint bespoke Rao Partha pewter miniatures from the 80s. I'm not into your commercialized Warhammer figures. That's too popular, even though the game I play every weekend is Dungeons and Dragons, maybe the most popular tabletop game of all time. I'm talking about Dan. Dude, is there D&D? I'm sure there are. I don't even know. I'm asking, but I'm going to guess there's D&D hipsters also that are like, yeah, I don't play Forgotten Realms. We only play Dark Sun. Forgotten Realms is too mainstream. I had a DM who refused to use Electrum as currency because it's stupid and made up. And I was like, buddy, I've got bad news for you about D&D. Hey, I got bad news for your friend. All currencies are made up. They're literally not worth anything. Unless you go back to when they literally used gold pieces, which gold, I guess, technically has some use and value. But all currency is just like a representation of some worth. We assign some value to it. And when it comes to centralized currency, we trust in the government to guarantee that that currency has some value. Which it used to be we were on the gold standard, but we don't even do that anymore. That your paper dollars were somehow guaranteed to have a equal monetary value in gold. But that's gone. I'm just saying, this is just the general trust of society has accepted that dollars have some value, monetary value to them. So this is not financial advice. This is just me going on a rant about you're going to sit here and say Electrum's stupid and made up. And it's like, yes, so is the US dollar. What I'm saying is take all your money, take it out of the bank, buy it in gold, and bury it in your backyard. It's the only way to be sure. Heck yeah, get some egg holders. This has value to me. Okay? I think we should trade in eggs. Actually, one of them, so this is a random thing. So did any of you play Diablo 2? All right, we're going to go back in gaming history. Anybody play Diablo 2? So in Diablo 2, the gold, the inflation of valuables like equipment in Diablo 2 became so high that the actual gold in the game, the currency of the game, was essentially worthless. So people started trading in a specific ring that had like a X% drop chance called the Stone of Jordan. It was an okay ring, but it became the new currency of the game through just sheer happenstance that the community accepted that it had some value, right? So the actual community abandoned the game's own currency and created a currency of their own through rings. I find it to be a very interesting idea in small economics, right? The community essentially self-regulated and went this is what we now accept as having value, even though it really had no value to most players. Really, I think only maybe wizards used that ring, or whatever they were called in Diablo 2. Sorcerers, sorceresses. Yeah, EVE Online is a whole nother level. It's a Danish game, isn't it? Is it a Danish company that developed that game? The heck are those guys doing? Icelandic. Okay, I knew it was one of those Scandinavian countries. So weird. But hey, man, it's cool. I like it, you know? Give gamers, you know, free reign like that, and they'll do some crazy stuff. Yeah, EVE Online has like stories of like corporate espionage and all kinds of other things. It's really wild. I imagine the blog posts are much more interesting than the actual game. Hello, Vitai Mecca. Hi, welcome. Thanks for following. And Sukidong Hobby, hello, welcome. How are you? Just get that little purity seal painted. Just get it base coated so we kind of see it. Get some of these details and whatnot. Get some base coats on them, you know? Yeah, I'm sure EVE Online or Second Life has some of the like weirdest stories about it. Well, hello in Thailand. Niantic sold Pokemon Go and its other games for $3.5 billion. Shh. Good for them, I guess. I don't understand how, well, I don't know. How do you sell? I guess you sell the company and not really Pokemon Go, because I'm sure there's some legal thing about it being like owned by, you know, Nintendo. Is VR chat still going on? People playing that game? All right, I want to look up. Let's look at the Mantis Warriors logo. Mantis Warriors 40K icon. All right, so it's a yellow field. Here it is. Okay, this isn't too bad of a symbol. I think we can do this. So we need something to base coat this with. So we'll probably just use this like tan just to throw a base coat down because it has better coverage than actual yellow. And then we can go back over top of it. This is coming from someone who is like in a top rating guild in Final Fantasy 11 and one of the like, and a pretty high ranked PvPer in World of Warcraft. Those games are fun, but they are time sinks. And I personally, I'm not going to judge anyone for enjoying them or playing MMOs or anything. But I personally will never play another MMO. No, I didn't do a lot of arena. I did a lot of battlegrounds, and I'm talking like vanilla WoW. Never really got big into arena. Arena comps changed too much, and I didn't want to like change my character just to play, like be competitive in arena. All right, so that's, yeah, I put that down just to get like a color down, right? So the Mantis Warriors are yellow, but they're not like, seems it changes depending on which ones you look at, but I'm kind of looking at the Forge World ones are really the ones I consider like the accurate color, right? They kind of change depending. And sometimes it looks often like it's like a slightly more greenish yellow, and then sometimes it's more pure yellow. Seems like it's kind of all over the place, but it's definitely yellow, so. Yeah, man, you had to have the network adapter for the PS2, or you just play it on PC. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? Where is my, like, toxic yellow, whatever that one's called? I like that color. It has nice coverage for yellow. Yes, nice coverage for yellow. There's a qualifier in that statement. What do you guys think killed the MMO? I mean, obviously, like, MMOs are not actually dead, but like they're not popular like they once were. Cell phones? You think so? Maybe. Yeah, but why does the MMO not appeal to younger players? I ask this as someone who plays tabletop games, which also has an aging demographic, right? Like, how many, besides our treasured Jonas that we have, like, how many, like, 18 to 25-year-old miniatures gamers do you know? But the interesting thing, you may have gotten into this into your 30s, but a lot of the people that I know that have been in this for a long time, like take somebody like Albert or, some of these painters that have been around for like quite a long time, right? In the hobby that aren't that old, right? They're like in their mid to late 30s at this point. Like, they started really early, right? They started like Warhammer as teenagers. So what is it now? Like, that makes it difficult. I'm sure GWS themselves this literally all the time. How do we capture the younger audience? I do kind of agree with that, Richard. The like streamlining and ease sort of got rid of the like the social aspect of MMOs, which is what kind of was the appeal, right? I don't think attention spans have actually shriveled. I know TikTok brain rot, blah, 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 and I'm not trying to sound like a super old man here. This is why I'm making a counter argument that I don't think attention spans have actually shriveled. Any kid who can sit and play Valorant for 8 hours straight still has an attention span. It's just they're doing, or Marvel Rivals, or whatever the heck game they're playing. They still have an attention span. That is kind of true, the blending of genres where MMO mechanics. Hey, GTA Online was quite popular, right? That's almost like an MMO at that point. You got to put a red dot sight on it, you know? That's a leveling up. Hi, Doug. Monster Hunter, yeah, I feel like is more like a Diablo-esque kind of game, right? It's like always, well, it's not technically always online, but it is a multiplayer game that has RPG elements. It's just not an MMO. And one of the major points of an MMO is, I guess, yeah, the social aspect of it. Wow, a yellow knee pad. Wow. So you're saying we need Warhammer esports, which they kind of try, and that has to be the most boring thing ever. I know there's some people that watch it, but All right, let's look at the emblem here. Also, why do you game MMOs were really popular at a time when gaming was still on the app? I guess. All right, I need the glasses for this. I'm going to show how I do some freehand element here, and then we will probably call it after that. But I'm looking at the symbol, right? So what I want to do, I'm going to link the emblem for you guys so you can see copy image address so that you can know what the end result is going to look like. Okay. So that is the Mantis Warrior symbol. And I'm going to paint it on this little knee pad right here. When I'm looking at the symbol, I'm looking at the dimensions, okay? And there's kind of, actually, you know what? We're gonna do it this way. I'm gonna pull it up on the iPad real quick so I can kind of describe the thought process, okay? So let me pull it up real fast. Okay, so here we go. Let's switch to this camera. Okay, so this is the Mantis Warrior symbol, all right? So when I'm painting a freehand like this, what I'm looking for specifically to kind of break down like how to freehand it is I'm looking at proportions, right? I'm gonna use like a bright light blue so you can see my markings better. Okay, so what I'm looking at, first thing I'm looking at is the proportion of this, right? This proportion to this proportion, right? And what we have is not a square, okay? This is not square. It's about, right? If we take this length here, and we roll a circle like that, it's here, here, right? So we're in like a 2 to 3 aspect ratio on this emblem, right? So I know that's roughly like the shape I want. All right. And the second thing the next thing I'm looking at is what I've got. So I've got symmetry, which will help, right? So I have horizontal symmetry, okay? So I need to like establish my center line. I know my proportions, which will help on the knee pad because it's a bit long. It's a bit taller than it is wide. The next thing I'm looking at is what is in these like landmarks. So here I don't particularly have this, but I can look. Let's go back to this, right? What's about halfway up? Okay, so if we were to take half of this distance, right? Let's find the middle point. It's like right here. So essentially where like the nose of the mantis is about my halfway point. About my third of my way up is like where the mouth is. And then sort of the center of the eyes, maybe the eyes are slightly lower. Okay? So that's kind of like my kind of landmarks, right? So I'm looking at landmarks. Okay? The next thing I see is this shape. Okay? So the next big thing I see is this sort of circle here, right? So I have this kind of circle on the head, and this circle kind of repeats like this. So I have two sort of overlapping circles, right? And then they sort of meet in the, I have the like nose in the center of these circles, right? So I'm trying to break sort of like the proportions down into these like more simplified shapes so I can see them better. Okay. Then I have more circles, right? So there's like all these. Oh my God. The Mantis Warriors are Disney. It's Secret Mickey Mouse. But yeah. So anyways, I'm looking for these like shapes, right? So I can kind of see these shapes. Now this one is not really a circle, but it has a similar curve to the bottom of this, right? So I have this like sort of repeated curve here, and then there's all these other repeated curves, right? So this eye connects like to the inside of this eye and then comes around, right? So I'm just looking for these shapes. Okay. So let's jump back. And I can begin to kind of sketch this out, right? Okay, so where do I want the top corners to be, right? I know it's like a 2x3. So first thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to have to repaint this anyways, is I'm going to kind of establish this center line. Notice that I'm establishing the center line on an angle because it should be in line with his boot, right? I see people do this thing all the time where they paint the line here, like they hold it like it's like curved and it's like in line with the ground instead. Okay? So I want to make sure I don't do that. All right? Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to establish this like upper shape, right? So I know I have kind of this top shape here, right? This is that like curve at the top. And then at the bottom, I'm going to paint this curve again. Okay, so these lines are going to represent the like mandibles. And I'm also trying to like kind of use the shape of the knee pad to my advantage here. Like, let it, I'm following that like contour of the knee, right? This is going to help like integrate it into the shape. Okay, and I know this roughly comes up like a third, right? So it's like 1/3, 1/3 here, right? So like 1/3 of the way up is like roughly there, 2/3, and then 3/3 is at the top of the knee. Sorry, I'm trying to get this like right in the correct spot. Yeah, this is Mantis. We're doing the Mantis Warriors. Okay, and the next thing I will do is I know that like the point of his horns are not quite in line with the like outside of the mandible. They're slightly inset, and right where they are right now is about correct. And then this comes down and about halfway down. So I need to have these connect in the center. So these are going to come down and connect like this. Okay, and they have more curve than that, but I don't need to get that curve in quite yet. I'm just trying to get the like rough shape in, okay? And then from the outside of that, we'll get the bulge here for the eye. Okay. And these might be a little high at the moment, the mandible pieces, and that's fine because I'm going to clean this stuff up too, right? And then what do we know? We know this has to cut back in like so in order to connect back to the mouth, right? Okay. Now, this is good. I need to get rid of the center line here because it's going to interfere with the outer mandibles. Right, so we can get rid of that part, and we'll clean this up, right? But I'm just trying to erase that section right now. I know this is also too much at the moment. Same with over here. Right, we'll bring the yellow back, but I'm just trying to like correct the shape. Okay, now I'm going to fill in some of this black. Okay, so something like that. And then here, at the bottom, we're going to create, hold on, I want it nice and fluid. Okay, so I'm going to start creating the little mandible shape at the bottom of the mouth here, and these come together quite a lot. So I can extend them a little bit if I need. Okay, and then this piece is going to come down and around like so. All right, and now we have to paint the little smaller mandible bits, like this little piece here, this little piece here. Again, this is not perfect. I'm not trying to get it perfect at this stage. I'm just trying to get like the rough shape in. I can always go back and like refine the shape, right? Okay, now I get my yellow center line. Should give me my symmetry between the two sides. And I might want to extend out. What's up? I can't see the alerts because I've got this picture pulled up. Let me grab that. Waterman 670, hello. Welcome. Move this over so I can see the symbol. All right. Okay. One thing you'll often find when painting freehands is that it's pretty hard to get a very sharp corner with just the brush, okay? So what you can do, what I recommend here is painting the negative space will often give you a sharper result than you could by painting the actual line. So what I mean by that is like for these horns, by erasing the black, the resulting corner can appear much more sharp. Okay, so something like that. And then down here, we want to make some adjustment to this shape because this shape is not quite right. This needs to cut out more like this. And then we need red because the eyes on this thing are red. Okay, so what do we see with the red eyes? We know like I've got the marking for like the corner of the eye, right? It's like up here, but then it loops back in. He's got their kind of Spider-Man-esque shape, right? So we know this bottom line is correct, but then I need to have it cut. I'm gonna grab just a little bit of yellow to give slightly more coverage here. Slightly lighter. Right. So I know it starts at the corner at the top and then it like S curves down in. And then same thing for this one over here. So we start at the corner and then it S curves this way. Creates that kind of shape like that. All right. Now, the eyes are slightly wider apart than this. So I need to adjust the shape a little bit. Okay, something like that. And probably the center line could be a little thinner. So again, right, we can, it's really hard to paint like a super thin yellow line, but I can paint the yellow line. And then by painting in the black and slowly widening the black, it makes that yellow line even thinner and sharper. Okay, now I get that little top mandible part. Now I can come back. This yellow down here at the bottom and start to clean up some of this area. Right, so if you could break it down into like more simple shapes and landmarks, it helps when freehanding this stuff a lot. And then what do we got to do? We got to put these two like right at the bottom of the eyes. Right, we got to put the little like nostril things. And then we kind of have the Mantis Warrior symbol. Now to clean up. What chapter is this Marine from? He's a Mantis Warrior. I don't get it. All right, so there. Yeah, no, I got it. It just was a terrible pun. You're making quite a few leaps in logic there, too. Arrive at that joke. All right, and now I'm going to take a little bit of this as like a glaze. And then we can glaze back on top to restore some of the shape to the yellow. It's because it's kind of transparent, right? It's not really going to affect the black part of the emblem. So we can get some nice roundedness to the back to the knee pad. And tie that symbol together. Don't quite love how soft this part of the symbol looks. Could be a little sharper. Nya. Mantis. All right. Easy, yeah? Just draw the owl. Now he's a Mantis Warrior. All right. We're going to call it there. I think that was a good Session, the dark. Yeah, I mean, most of this other stuff, if you want to see how I do like the other parts, you know, I've done like details and stuff. I've even done a camo cloak on stream. So yeah. And certainly I've painted Space Marine heads, so there's definitely a video for that.